Hi, I'm Travis Merrill, and today I want to talk to you about slow practice. I know what you're thinking. I've heard a million times I need to practice slowly. I don't need to hear that anymore. But before you run away, let me explain to you what I mean when I say slow practice and why I think you should do it, both of which I think will be a bit different than you may have heard before. So first off, let's talk about what is slow practice. Does that mean practicing at 25% speed, 50% speed, 75% speed, etc.? My definition for slow practice comes from a great book by Burton Kaplan called Practicing for Artistic Success. Mr. Kaplan's definition of slow practice has three parts. The first part is that you should feel physically relaxed. The second is that you should feel mentally calm. And the third is that you should practice slowly enough that you can still experience the notes as a part of a musical pattern. So in other words, you're not playing so slowly that you can't actually hear music, you just hear sounds. So if you think about that definition and you think about its relevance and its connection to another phrase that one of my teachers uses, Nathan Cole, he says, practice makes performance. What does that mean? That means that everything we do in the practice room leads to the performance that we have on stage. All of those things support, or in some cases don't support, our performance on the stage. And if you think about Mr. Kaplan's definition, his definition of slow practice is how I want to feel on stage. I want to feel physically relaxed, I want to feel mentally calm, and I want to play musically. That means that in the practice room, I have to be constantly practicing both those physical and emotional states. Most of us, when we practice, if we're playing something that's hard for us and we're practicing it in a way that is not slow, we are baking in stressful emotional states. We may feel angry at a passage. We may feel worried about a passage or anxious. And if we are repeating those feelings over and over, day after day, then it stands to reason that when we get on stage, what are we going to feel there? We're going to feel those emotions. So that means that when we're practicing, we have to be mindful of our emotional state. We have to be ensuring that we're actually rehearsing the same kind of inner self-talk and emotional state that we want when we're on stage. Likewise, if I want to feel physically free when I'm playing on stage, that means I need to be rehearsing that feeling all the time in the practice room. So if I'm constantly practicing in a tempo that is where that goal is not achievable, where I get stressed, where my shoulders start to get tense, where my fingers start to lock up, or my bow in my left hand start to lose synchronicity, well, if I'm rehearsing that day after day, what's going to happen on stage is most likely that. So again, when you use that definition of slow practice, that means that your tempo that you need to practice any particular passage at is variable, right? How your particular learning stage with a piece or a passage, your particular feeling that day can really affect the tempo where it's going to feel slow. But if you are in the practice room constantly practicing slowly, then you're going to very naturally over time be able to speed up what you're working on and keep those great feelings of physical relaxation and emotional calm that you then can take with you to the stage. So I hope you'll give a shot at practicing slowly this week. I know it's a lot to ask. I know that it requires actually a lot of change in our expectations of what we can get done in any particular practice session. And I know it requires a certain amount of patience, something that as a student, I was definitely didn't have a lot of. So in my next video, I'm going to talk quite a bit about impatience in practice and how we can use impatience as a tool in our own practice to improve rather than just use it as a way to lead very quickly to frustration in the practice room. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that video next week, and I'll see you soon.